नमस्कार, मैं डॉक्टर नवीन सिरोही from Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs. Friends, today I will discuss with you a very important topic which is close to my heart, that is money and youth. Before we move to money management, let's try to understand the power of youth. First slide, please. Youth of a country are they are trustees of future prosperity. The young age is a very dynamic period because most of our learning, most of our orientations, most of our behaviors, including behaviors related to money management, are also formed in this age of youth. By age of youth, there are different parameters. The generally accepted definition is the United Nations, which says youth means people between 10 to 24 years of age. The National Youth Policy 2003 defines youth as someone between 13 to 35 years of age. This definition was later on revised in National Youth Policy 2014, where the youth represents people between 15 to 29 years of age. So as I said, the young population this age of youth is the most critical part for any individual, and there is a need to harness the energy, skill them with the right knowledge, inculcate the right behaviors into them, and streamline them into the constructive activities. Let's talk about some changing demographics. In India, every third person is a young person or a youth. So as per census 2011 figures, the young population of India is about 34%, which is a sizable figure. According to UN World Population Prospects 2014, India has maximum number of young population youth globally, despite even more than China, despite China being the most populous country. And we are expected to continue with this predominant share of youth population for next 2 decades. So which puts us in a very strategic advantage, a competitive advantage called demographic dividend. You would have heard this term demographic dividend. It is actually the period where the nations with a high young population make the most of this period through rapid economic growth. India is right now into that phase, and it may continue for next 2 decades. And considering this, it is very critical to help the youth develop right skills, and money management is one of those skills. In fact, in today's world, when the financial products are getting complicated, there is a lot of confusion. Money management is a necessary life skill, and unfortunately it is not formally taught anywhere. But if we can equip our young people with right money knowledge and right money behavior, we can actually reap the benefits of demographic dividend, because these young people will basically not only they will be able to manage their money better, but will be able to manage life better as a family member, manage their businesses better as an entrepreneur, because most of the youth are taking up entrepreneurship journey, and they will manage, or they will serve the nation better as a citizen. So friends, with the understanding of the youth and the importance of the youth, especially in the Indian context, let's move to the money management for youth. In life, if you see the next slide, there's a quote: what not to do is always more important than what to do. It applies to general life principles, but it applies to money management with more, I would say, more appropriately. The idea is, so we'll first focus on these areas, actually what you are not supposed to do when it comes to money management. You must have heard of Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is the self-made richest man of the globally. He is always in top 3. The rankings keeps on changing sometimes, and he's a self-made man. He's a self-made billionaire, multi-billionaire, only through investing. And he says there are 2 rules of investing. Rule number 1, never lose money. Rule number 2, never lose money. If I take the liberty of tweaking this quote, losing money is actually committing some mistake. So a refined version of this quote would be, there are 2 rules of money management. Rule number 1, never make money mistakes. Rule number 2, never make money mistakes. And this is the first and the most critical learning for all my young friends. Now let's discuss what are the 2 major mistakes which are done by the young population. The first one is getting into the debt trap. With the financial inclusion taking place, technology, benefits of technology coming into the finance area, easy credit is available to the population, especially the youth. When you start working, you will find a lot of people calling you to offer free credit cards, free personal loans, free consumer loans to get a vacation or buy some consumer items or anything. So free credit or easy credit, I would say, free credit card or easy credit is available to you as a youth. Unfortunately, at that young age, you are not prepared to handle that easy credit. So what happens? Most of the people, they get into this trap of going for a lot of credit cards, unnecessary loans, unsecured loans, personal loans, consumable loans, loans to buy a phone or something else, things which they can not afford with their present income, they still try to afford because of the easy credit available to them, and then they get into this vicious cycle of debt trap. My strong advice to you friends is, never ever take these credit cards, personal loans and other things unless you can take out some benefits. There are always 2 schools of thoughts, and there is a school of thought who says we get a lot of reward points and other things. I am not against any industry or a product, but I am generally saying, unless you are better equipped in terms of knowledge, in terms of behavior, don't go for these easy credits, because they can derail your financial journey, they can hamper your money growth, and they can put you behind in terms of your reaching your financial goals by 2, 3, 5 years or maybe a decade. And most of the time the young people realize it very late. You would have watched this series, this special initiative of IPF Authority, and many people have discussed about compounding and the benefits of starting early. The idea is people who start early means savings early and investing early, they end up with a very good amount of savings at the age of 60. And you can easily find a person starting at 20 with the same amount of savings and investing, and a person starting at 30 with the same amount of savings and investing. This gap of 10 years will result in doubling the corpus at the age 60 by more than 2 times, maybe more. So what happens if you go for any debt trap, friends, and which means you are not going for you are going for credit or things which you cannot afford, so your ability to save and invest is compromised. तो अगर आप सेव नहीं कर पाएंगे तो आप इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे, और अगर आप इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर पाएंगे अपने पैसे को, तो आप तरक्की कैसे कर पाएंगे, अपने पैसे को बढ़ा कैसे पाएंगे, फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम कैसे अचीव होगा, इकोनॉमिक फ्रीडम कैसे आएगा आपके पास. सो सबसे पहली जो एक गलती है जो लोग करते हैं वो ये करते हैं, यू शुड ऑलवेज हैव अ बजट. द आइडिया इज यू शुड ऑलवेज हैव अ बजट, and you should never try to spend more than 80 to 90% of your income. The problem happens when you are spending 125% of your income. That extra 25 comes from your easy credit through credit cards or loans. So once you get into that cycle, the whole equation of personal freedom, financial freedom is derailed. So be cautious about it, friends. The second trap, or the second important thing that you should never do, is fall into any money fraud, financial fraud. Avoid these financial frauds. This is again the underlying motivator is the same. It is easy money, you know. In case of debt trap, it is easy money in terms of loan. Sometimes the easy money or the quick money is offered to you in terms of your investment schemes, Ponzi schemes, financial frauds. There can be digital frauds also. You have won a lottery, please transfer this amount, or you can have different modus operandi. I will not go into schemes, but you can find so many of them, multi-level marketing, chain schemes, where you put in some money and then you have to add more people into this. IPF authority has done a nationwide survey 2 years back, and there we tried to investigate this dimension of financial frauds, money frauds, and it was found, and it was a pretty huge survey of more than 11,000 investors pan India. It was found that on an average people lose 45,000 rupees into financial frauds. Not only youth, overall target audience, but 45,000 rupees is if average figure, is a huge figure, and most of the people actually don't open up and accept that they have lost the money. So we can take this figure to be a very polished or very conservative figure for our discussion. So the second important thing is not to get into any money fraud, financial fraud schemes. There is only one way to become successful in life, and that rule applies to money management, money behavior also, and that is the simple, slow, steady approach. All of us have heard the story of rabbit and the tortoise, खरगोश और कछुए की कहानी जो हमने सुनी है. हम सबको पता है, फिर भी हम भूल जाते हैं, फिर भी हम खरगोश की तरह बिहेव करने लगते हैं, और हम बहुत जल्दी पैसा कमाना चाहते हैं, और ऐसे में हम गलतियां कर जाते हैं और अपनी मेहनत की कमाई कुछ गलत इन्वेस्टमेंट स्कीम्स में लगा देते हैं. इस टेम्पटेशन से, ये जो एक बिहेवियरल ट्रेट है टू मेक इजी मनी, क्विक मनी, इससे बचना है. Slow, steady way is a stable way of money growth, financial freedom. जो 3 मेजर मोटिवेशंस फ्रेंड्स इसमें होते हैं, जो सर्वे की फाइंडिंग्स में भी आए. कि why people fall into this frauds. So the reason is, it was found, first is of course the greed, लालच, जल्दी अमीर बनने की ख्वाहिश. तो first is that greed. Second is the trust. Most of the time such offers come from someone very close to you. It can be your family members, extended family, or very close friends. And when he says, अरे यार मैंने भी इन्वेस्ट किया है, मुझ पे भरोसा नहीं है क्या, you fall into that trap. So second is trust. First was your own greed, second was the trust, and the third one comes from credibility. Credibility generally comes through some kind of a celebrity endorsement or very big people, renowned people being involved into that particular scheme, and then you feel if such learned people are part of this, it has to be good. There is a rule for investment and managing money. You should always take your own decision based on your own information and your own research. Never ever copy anyone. So friends, from here we'll move to the next slides, which is what to do. I've kept this small interaction very simple, and there are three things which you need to do now. As long as your first part is taken care of, which is not doing what you are not supposed to do, now you can move your energy, your money to what you are supposed to do. And there are three things. Pay yourself first, that is savings. Second is money discipline, which is related to investing. And the third is money ownership, which is continuous learning, sharpening your axe. Let's discuss them one by one. Pay yourself first. It doesn't mean your monthly salary which you get. Pay yourself first means from the salary or your monthly income, save something towards investment as the first priority. So pay yourself first means pay yourself first through savings, regular savings. Normally what happens, there is money equation, and what happens is income minus expense is savings. So in reality what happens, there is a fixed income, there is no control on expenses, and which results in negligible or no savings. What happens when we apply the pay yourself first approach is we bring savings in front of this equation. So the new money equation becomes income minus your savings is equal to expenditure. So what happens, you are paying yourself first in terms of a fixed savings. It should be minimum 10%, it can be more. So you get 100 rupees as an income, you are taking aside 10 rupees minimum, you are paying yourself first, and the 90 rupees which are left with you is basically your budget for the expenditure, meeting your monthly expenditure. This is the first thing you should do. So you should basically prioritize your savings, and so that your expenditure is controlled with a cap without compromising with the savings behavior. The second point is discipline. Discipline is all about having a long-term perspective. Compounding is the magical word, not just word, rather it's the magic formula for the exponential benefits in life, including money management. But the real benefits of compounding you get only through discipline, because when you invest for decades, invest right for decades, you continue investing for decades, you keep on increasing your investment for decades, because your income is increasing every year. So you should increase your savings and investing rather than increasing your expenditure. That increase should also go maximum into investments. So when you do it for decades, for a long time, when you are disciplined enough to continue investing and savings for a long time, it leads to financial freedom. It's helps you in creating a corpus. It helps you in living a fuller life where there are no money stress, financial stress, friends. And I will again give reference of Mr. Warren Buffett. Mr. Warren Buffett is the legend in investing world, and lot many people have tried to find out what is the secret behind his success, investing success, how he has made money out of money. He is about 90 years old now, still living. While I would recall my friend Mr. Morgan Housel. He has written a recent book, The Psychology of Money, where he says while he used his knowledge, Warren Buffett's knowledge, to make money, his hidden secret was time. He was disciplined enough for a very long time. He started investing at 11, friends. So that time he was also a young man, just like all of you. And he's continuing till 90 now. So those about 8 decades of investing he has continued. That's the discipline he showed. And that discipline has helped him to become richest man in the world, almost in the top 3. So discipline is very important, friends. And the last one is money ownership. I always say, this is my favorite quote, only person who can make you rich is you. Only person who can make you rich is you. And the time to act is now. Start early. It is your hard-earned money. You have to take responsibility of it, how to manage it. You should always dedicate 2 to 3 hours in a week to learn the art and the science of money management. Read successful people. Read what kind of money mistakes people do. Keep yourself updated about the latest developments. The cost of ignorance is too high, my friends, my young friends. We are in knowledge economy, knowledge age, and you have to continuously sharpen your axe. Not just the skill sets or the competencies which will be helpful in your professional life, but you need to regularly learn, unlearn, relearn the ideas, developments around money management and the tactics related to money behavior. Another dimension which is related to ownership is the behavior, and that's the most difficult one to handle. Knowing that you should not spend more than you earn is easy, but going into a mall, finding a sales in front of you, a sale offer where you buy 4 shirts and you get 5 shirts free, and controlling yourself from not spending the money is difficult, because that's behavior. Ownership is also about behavior. So try to take ownership to inculcate right money behavior of earning well, spending well, living within your means, not going for any easy money, quick money, easy credit, sharpening your axe, learning, enhance your learning, experiential learning. And with these things, if you can start your journey, you are at the very initial stages of your life, and you can develop the right money skills, the right money knowledge, and right money behavior. I can assure you, continue for 1 decade, 10 years. friends, and you will remember me after 10 years that we got the right advice. It will change your life. So, I will wrap up now. Main learnings: what not to do is more important than what to do. First, your first priority should be to avoid making money mistakes. Easy credit, easy money, and then be disciplined enough, save yourself, save money, and continuously learn the money game. Thank you very much.